Hilchos Shar Avos Hatumos Perek Chamisha Asar, the laws of the remaining primary sources of impurity, chapter 15. So yesterday was a little busy between two bar mitzvahs, but what did we learn in yesterday's chapter 14? That there's 12 cases of doubt. 12 cases of doubt where the rabbis ruled leniently in cases of impurity. In chapter 13, there was the 6 doubts where we ruled stringently. Yesterday we had 12 doubts where we ruled leniently. 4 of the doubts.
Single doubts, not double doubts.
Only single doubts, not double doubts, exactly. 4 of them was discussed yesterday. Today we're going to discuss the next 8. 8 of the 12. So they go like this. Halacha Aleph. Sveik divrei soifrim ketzad. What does it mean that when you're in doubt about a rabbinical matter, you can be lenient? So the Rambam says, if we can remember this far back, in chapter 8, the Rambam told us that if somebody eats impure food, you become impure rabbinically. So the question now is, what if you're in doubt about that? Safek ochal oichlin tmein, v'shasa mashkin tmein. You're in doubt whether you ate or drank impure foods. Safek shaloi shasa v'shaloi ochal. Or you're in doubt whether you didn't eat or drink them. Meaning you know you had lunch. You just don't know if that was the pure one or the impure one. Or what was another case of rabbinical impurity was the water that's not been fresh. Mayim she'uvin. Safek shabar reisha v'rube b'mayim she'uvin. You're in doubt whether you had entered with your head or most of your body into a body of water that's not been fresh, or it fell on you, which are cases where you become impure. Safek, shalayba, balay naflu. Or no, somebody poured water, but it was fresh mikvah water. It wasn't mayim shuvin. Harizatar. So in these cases, you are pure. That's a doubt about rabbinical matters. V'chein, or here's another doubt. You're for sure impure. You know you ate or drank impure stuff. Or you know you had encountered the problematic water. The doubt for you is the suffix naga betaris elu suffix loy naga. You're in doubt whether you touched the pure food after that or not. So the doubt could be within you, are you impure or not? The doubt could be outside of you, did you make things impure or not? Since the doubt involves an impurity which to begin with is rabbinic, so the pure food, which is in doubt whether you touched it or not, remains pure. B'chein, here's a third scenario where you can have a doubt. The doubt's not in you. The doubt's not in the pure things outside of you. The doubt is in the very impurity of the original food. You're eating or you're drinking foods or liquids that themselves are impure out of doubt. You're also pure. If you have truma which is in doubt, we had the other day that truma either is totally pure, or you have to burn it, or sometimes you leave it hanging in the balance. So it's not here nor there. That's a rabbinic doubt. You're pure. All of these cases, which are all like first degree, second degree impurities imposed by the rabbis, the doubt is always pure. But what about a rabbinic imposition, where the rabbis made something impure, like a primary source of impurity? Their all doubts involved there are impure, unless the whole impurity was imposed out of doubt. What's the classic case of that? The Beis HaPras. Beis HaPras is the field where there was a grave that was plowed through. You don't know if there's a bone around. So the rabbi said, assume the whole thing is impure. But the whole impurity is a doubt. But if you're in doubt whether you walked into a Beis HaPras or not, you have to assume that you're impure. The Eretz HaAmim and the diaspora, also, it's an impurity of rabbinic origin that comes from a doubt. She'ein surfin al sfeik magon. You don't burn truma if you're in doubt whether it touched this dirt or not. As we explained, because again, the whole impurity is a doubt, so it's really like a double doubt. You don't know if there was problematic stuff in the Beis HaPras, and I also don't know if it touched the truma or not. So therefore, those are cases where you can be lenient. Okay, that's the 5th of the 12 doubts. Now the 6th one. Halacha beis. Sveik hachulin, hi taharas oichle chulein betara. What happens if there's a doubt concerning chulin, but specifically these guys. Remember this hierarchy from 2 days ago? There's different levels of eating. So one of them is called oichle chulin betara. These are people that are, their standard is all their regular food they eat in a state of purity. So what happens if they have a doubt? They're called Prushin, the Pharisees. They're the good guys. they can have a doubt which is also lenient. Ketzad, what does that mean? These people, they eat all their chulin in purity, and now one day, some kind of doubt arose. Is it impure? Is it not pure? These doubts are ruled leniently, it's pure. The only type of impurity which can be imposed is if it's definite. You know it touched the carcass, you're out. You don't know, a doubt, you're good. Halacha Gimel, Sveik HaKarbanos Ketzad. What about a doubt concerning sacrifices? A doubt concerning sacrifices, how could that be related to impurity? Because we remember that certain types of impurity require a sacrifice to get out. You're not considered fully pure till you bring a sacrifice. So this is a doubt which hinges on impurity. Mechusar Kippurim, sheyesh alav sveik chamisha karbanos. There could be a guy who is impure, went to the mikveh, but now he's waiting to bring his sacrifice, and he's in doubt about 5 sacrifices. A woman had a bunch of different types of bleeding, and she came into doubt 5 times about being a zava. Or 5 times a doubtful giving birth, unfortunately. You have a miscarriage and it doesn't look like exactly like a baby. There's doubtful impurity. So what do you do now? So the Rambam says we rule leniently. Once multiple doubts accumulate, mevi'in karban echad v'toreh lechol b'kadoshim. Simply bring one, and that gets you out of doubt. Yeah, you're pure to eat the meat, sacrificial meat. Ve'ein ashar alav chayva, and the others aren't even an obligation on you to bring. As we explained at the end of the last book, in the laws dealing with these people, that this doubt is ruled leniently. Halacha Daled, the next doubt, Sveik Negoyim Ketzat. Doubts related to tzaras. This we actually had in elaborate length in the laws of tzaras, but the Rambam just summarizes it here. He says, Actually, nizkak letuma sveikoi toher. Anytime you have a doubt about a lesion, if the person never entered any sort of impurity, that means the doubt became before he comes to the Kohen for inspection. When he shows up, it's already a doubt, then you're good. As we explained in chapter 6 of the laws of tzaras. Once you show up to the Kohen, and the Kohen puts you in quarantine or indefinite impurity, now doubts are going to be ruled stringently. Because you're already in the game. But if you're not in the game yet, we send you home. We say you're good. Halacha Hey. It's actually also related to tzaras, the next doubt. Sveik oimed v'oiver ketzad. The doubt of the person standing and the person walking. What does that mean? We had a law in tzaras that says that if a mitzayra sits under a tree, the whole tree becomes impure. It's like, while he's there. Like a corpse in a room. Okay. That concept of like spreading to the whole room. So a mitzayra under a tree spreads the tumah. Even if somebody just walks by, if he's under the same tree, becomes impure. So now you have a doubt. There's a person with tzara sitting under a tree. The avar hatar comes a pure guy, passes by. Safek he'il alava ilan v'nitma. Safek le'he'il. You're in doubt whether or not the tree formed the covering over him, and therefore he became impure or not. V'cheinim haya hatar yeshev tachas ilan v'hametzayra ever tachtav. Flip side. The pure guy is sitting under the tree, and the mitzayra is walking by. So when the mitzayra is walking by, it doesn't become an oyel till he stops. But you don't know if he stopped. Safek amad ha-mitzayra v'nitma ha-tahir, safek le'amad. We're in doubt. Did the mitzayra stop and the person became impure or not? Sveikoi tahir. This is a doubt, one of the 12 doubts, where the rabbi said, you rule leniently. Halacha vav, the next doubt, sveik shratzim. It's called in the Talmud the doubt of rodents, but it's actually what's called zes sveik hanizdrakim, the doubt of the throne. Okay? Not sure how this happened, but let's just look at the case. Ketzat. How does this play out? Zarak sheretz, oidavar tameh, lebena kikaris. A person found a dead mouse, or one of the 8 shratzim, which confers impurity, and he chucks it. Why he chucks it, nobody knows. He chucks it to an area of loaves or grain that's pure. Okay, and now if the mouse touches it, they're going to become impure. Or he threw a loaf of bread into an area of impurity. Safek naga, safek le naga, and you're in doubt whether the sheretz touched the loaves or whether the loaf touched the impure stuff or not. Tahar, you're always pure. Hoyelu matzah hakikar atar Of course, provided that you came to the pile and you found that it wasn't touching anything, right? You threw it from far, and then you come check it out, and the mouse is lying next to the pile. So now you don't know, did it touch or not? You can assume that it didn't touch, because you found it, safe.
Verified.
Yeah. Shakol hatumos kishas mitziyasam. We have a rule. All the status of impurity depends on the moment that you found it. We don't say, oh, maybe it fell on, then it rolled off, right? We simply say that whatever the status is when you found it, that's the status. Halacha zayin, hasheretz b'fi hachulda. Look what AI can do. There it is. Okay? A weasel is holding a rodent, a mouse. Now, it should be dead, okay? So this mouse is dead. Umahaleches al gabe kikare shel truma. And the weasel is taking a walk over loaves of truma. So, I don't know about you, but I would just disqualify these loaves on the basis of a weasel having walked there, okay? But no, this was normal for weasels to take walks around bread. I guess. The question is it impure or not? Safek naga, safek lay naga. I'm in doubt whether the rodent, because the weasel is alive. There's no problem there. The problem is the mouse. The weasel is carrying the mouse. Did the mouse touch, the dead mouse, did that dead mouse touch the loaves of bread or not?
Does it have to be the goof or the tail?
Any part.
Any part.
As long as it's an entity of complete mouse. Huh? But I guess, yeah, you see the tail is a bit long, but even the legs or whatever, there's many cases that it can happen. Sveikai tahar. So we are ruling leniently. Because the mouse is moving in the weasel's mouth, right? It never come to rest. So you can be lenient there. What about this case? The weasel is walking on the loaves of truma, and you know that it touched them. But the question is, did it die? Safek chai, safek meis. The sheretz only is going to be impure if it's dead. So when it touched the loaves, was it alive or dead? Harehin Titus. That's another doubt about shratzim. You rule leniently. When do we say this? If the weasel took it and left. Okay, I didn't clarify. It's the same case. The weasel is holding the mouse. You know the mouse touched the loaves. You just don't know if the mouse is alive or dead. You understand? So now that Rambam says, when do we say that we can rule leniently? If you saw the weasel pick it up, and now you don't know if it's dead or not. But if it's only found dead in its mouth, and that's where the doubt is, so now it's for sure dead. You understand?
You're verifying that it's dead in its mouth.
Yes, because if
the weasel is nice, allowing you to verify.
Yes, the weasel is there allowing you to verify it. So if you can verify it, that means that you know that it's for sure tamei, because the sheretz is now dead.
Right.
So then, you have to assume that it's impure. If all you see is from far, a weasel walking with a mouse, you see it touches bread, and then it runs away. Now you don't know, you'll never know, was it alive or dead? So you say it was alive. But if it's there in front of you dead, then you have to assume that it's tamei. Ra'u chai b'fiha. If we saw it at one point alive in the weasel's mouth, afal pisha metzu meis b'fiha, even if you find it verifiably dead in its mouth, harei elo tairas. You can also assume that it's pure, because you saw it for a moment when it was alive, and it wasn't problematic. Similarly, hasheretz b'fi hachulda v'hanavela b'fi hakelev. Again, let's see our AI over here. Look at this. You have the weasel is carrying the mouse, and a dog is carrying a dead sheep.
A sheep.
Mamash, a sheep, a carcass. And they're passing through a crowd. So this was normal, I'm telling you. They're passing through pure people. Or the pure people pass through them, by them. They're in doubt, did I touch the dead sheep, which is a nevela, which is impure? Did I touch the mouse, which is a sheretz? So if they're in doubt, they're always pure. Because in this case, the tumah never was stationed in a permanent way. Whereas if it was this scenario, a little gory here, but let's just take a look. The mouse is on the floor. The sheep is on the floor. And the weasel and the dog are biting into it. They're pecking at it. Now they're like placed. They're stationary. And retroactively, they're going to make you impure in doubt. At least if it was in private domain, because we're going to see in a second that in a public domain, you're always pure about doubts. In a private domain, if a person would have been unsure that I touched this sheet that was being pecked at by the dog, since it's stationary, you have to assume that it's impure. Halacha ches, fake reshus harabim ketzat. What does it mean that a doubt of public domain is pure? So you have like this. Tuma shehi munachas b'reshus harabim. A source of impurity is literally lying in the middle of the road. Public domain. Safek naga ba, safek le naga. You're in doubt. Did I touch it or not touch it? I don't know. Sveikaitar. You go leniently. Hoysam munachas b'reshus hayachid. But if it's in the private domain, the safek naga ba, safek le naga, and you're in doubt, touched it or not, sveikaitamei. You're actually impure. Because any doubts in private domains go stringently. V'chol elu hasveika sheter chachamim, except for all the other doubts. All the other 11 doubts which the rabbis made you pure, that's afilu b'reshus hayachid. It's even in a private domain. Because there's no way to ascertain. They don't have mature knowledge to be asked. Basically, the idea is like this. When you're in a private domain, so the person it has the mind, has the presence of mind to know whether he became pure or not. A sheretz, a mouse can't talk to you. So when it's a doubt involving other things, doesn't have das, doesn't have what's called a presence of mind or intelligence, so we rule leniently even in a reshus hayachid. And the final doubt, doubt number 12, was sfeik shtei reshuyos, the doubt concerning two domains. So here we have a private domain next to a public domain. Okay? So now we don't know if which one or where it is. Haya davar tamei b'reshus hayachid, v'davar tar b'reshus harabim. There's something impure in a private domain and something pure in a public domain. Or the impure thing was in the public domain, pure was in the private domain. You know you touched one of them, but which one you don't know. Or you caused it to move. It was on a beam, you kicked the beam, you caused it to move. You don't know which one it was. Of course, we're assuming that it's one of those things which could make you impure through carrying and hence through hesed. Or one of them was a corpse that makes you impure with oyel. And you formed an oyel over one of them, you don't know which one. Again, you're pure. Now, the Rambam clarifies one thing. Even though when you're in doubt about matters in public domain, you're pure. When you come to the court, to the rabbi to ask you what to do, we'll tell him, look, going to the mikveh can never hurt. You're in doubt, just go to the mikveh. Go to the mikveh, you're praiseworthy, we love you, give you extra points. But if you didn't go to the mikveh, and you perform matters related to purity, all the food you conducted will be pure, because in doubt, we're going to go pure. But in other words, if you can get out of it, just go to the mikveh. It's not going to make a big deal. Halacha Yod, sheretz shenimtza saruf umunach al gabi oichlin. You find a rodent burnt. Now burnt, what did we have the other day? That if a rodent is burnt, so if its full skeletal form is intact, it's still impure. But if the form has been ruined, it's no longer tameh. So when you found it in a state of being burnt. So burnt that it's not mitameh. Or you found a shawl, a cloth, so worn out. It's not even called a cloth according to halacha. Even if it was impure, it's no longer impure. Or a needle that's broken or rusty. Again, also not called a halachically significant utensil. Beina kelim, but it's sitting amongst other utensils. The food that's touched by the sheretz and the utensils touched by these worn out cloth or needle are pure. Bein b'reshus hayachid, bein b'reshus harabim, whether public or private domain. We don't say, here's the novelty, we don't say, Shema achar shenaga ba'oichlin nisraf. Maybe the mouse fell on the food and it was fully alive, it was fully intact, and then someone set it on fire while it was already touching the food. Or the shawl or the needle was already there before. No. Only after the shawl or the needle made them impure, that's when it broke or became rusty, bolsa, talis, achatara, or the shawl became worn out. No. Shakala tumais kishas mitziyasam. That's the rule. Tuma goes by the time you find it. When you found that it was good, it's good. Halacha Yud Aleph. Interesting case now. How there could be a doubt that's coming from other people. Okay, we're going to have 4 scenarios here. Shnei Eidim Aimrim Le Nitmesa. 2 people tell you, you are Tameh. We watched you touch something impure. Hu Aimer Tarani, but he says, he argues, I'm pure. With definitiveness. Hu Namanai De Atzmai. He's believed for himself. We don't tell him though, we don't allow him directly to go deal with pure foods. If he did, then they're going to be considered pure. But he should be stringent to suspect. If 2 guys tell you, hey, you're impure, you should worry about that. What if it's a little different? The guy, he is confused. He doesn't know. 1 guy is saying, you became impure. 2 guys are saying, you're safe. So you're not an opinion here. You don't know. But you have 2 guys saying that you're good. So you're good. Flip side here. 2 people saying you're tameh. 1 guy saying you're not. This is not called a doubt. Even if you're in public domain. You have 2 guys saying you're impure. You're impure. If it's 1 against 1, 1 aid is saying you're impure, 1 aid is saying you're not impure. Even if it's a woman who has no validity to her testimony typically. 1 is saying pure, 1 is saying impure. They are powerful enough to create a doubt. The conflicting opinions themselves creates the doubt. And therefore, classic rule, private domain, you're impure. Public domain, you're pure.